Across Africa today, courts are being closed, soldiers are being prepared for Gaza. Ebola is spreading. Arrests have followed the assassination of a boxing champion. And once again, an American report has turned its lens on Nigeria. Welcome to Trending Around Africa. Let us begin in Zambia, where the doors of justice were closed at the most suspicious possible moment. First, is this a civilian coup in Zambia? Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema was declared winner of the August 13th election with approximately 60% of the vote. But opposition leader Brian Mondebo rejected the result and prepared to challenge it. Some independent observers also questioned the figures, although Hichilema denied any wrongdoing. Then something extraordinary happened. On the final day for election petitions to be filed, Zambia's Constitutional Court and other superior courts were closed. Workers were instructed to remain at home, while police surrounded the court premises. The explanation was security concerns. But what could threaten democracy more than closing the court precisely when a disputed election is about to be challenged? Hichilema may believe that he won fairly. But that is exactly what an independent court should be allowed to examine. If the evidence supports him, let the court confirm it. If it does not, let justice take its course. Closing the court does not end suspicion. It deepens it. And this is not only about Zambia. It exposes a dangerous form of power seizure spreading across Africa, the civilian coup. In a military coup, soldiers appear on television and announce that they have taken power. Everyone immediately condemns it. But in a civilian coup, politicians capture the Electoral Commission, security agencies, and other state institutions. The people vote, disputed figures are announced, and the judiciary is expected to legitimize the outcome. No tanks enter the presidential palace. No soldier reads a takeover speech. But the will of the people may still be defeated. Africa has witnessed courts uphold deeply disputed election results in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In Nigeria, Bola Tinubu's disputed 2023 victory was upheld after Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar challenged the election over alleged irregularities. In Zimbabwe, the Constitutional Court upheld Emmerson Mnangagwa's disputed 2018 victory. His 2023 re-election was again rejected by the opposition, while regional observers raised serious concerns about the electoral environment. In Congo, the Constitutional Court validated Felix Tshisekedi's victory despite observer reports of widespread irregularities and a disputed tabulation process. This does not automatically prove that every declared winner lost. But it demonstrates the crisis of confidence surrounding African elections and courts. When people believe that electoral institutions can announce anything and the judiciary will uphold it, elections become ceremonies rather than instruments of accountability. This is where Western hypocrisy must also be confronted. When soldiers seize power in Niger, Burkina Faso, or Mali, Western governments immediately demand democracy. Sanctions are imposed, military intervention is threatened, and constitutional order suddenly becomes sacred. After the Niger coup, ECOWAS imposed severe sanctions and threatened military action, with strong support from Western governments. But where is that same urgency when civilian leaders manipulate institutions, suppress opposition, or close courts against election challenges? Why does democracy become an emergency only when a military officer takes power? A civilian president who subverts the people's will is also attacking democracy, even if he wears a suit, attends international conferences, and speaks the language Western governments want to hear. This does not make military coups democratic. Military rulers can also suppress political parties, postpone elections, and become the dictators they claim they came to remove. Burkina Faso has already dissolved political parties and postponed its promised return to civilian rule. The point is that Africa must reject both forms of authoritarianism, the soldier who seizes power with a gun and the civilian who seizes it through captured institutions. Western governments must also stop treating democracy as merely having an acceptable ally in the presidential palace. Democracy means that votes count, courts remain independent, opposition parties can compete, and citizens can remove a failed government peacefully. When the wrong leaders are protected from accountability, they do not work for the people. They loot public resources, protect political allies, and transfer African wealth into foreign banks and properties. That is one reason resource-rich African countries remain poor. Closing a constitutional court on the final day of an election challenge is not the protection of democracy. It is the kind of action that destroys public trust and eventually makes citizens believe that only force can produce political change. Now, we move over to Uganda. Why is Uganda sending soldiers to Gaza? Uganda has approved the deployment of approximately 1,200 soldiers to a proposed international stabilisation force in Gaza. Military officials from Uganda and Burundi have visited Israel to discuss the mission. Burundi is considering participating. Officially, these soldiers are not going to fight Palestinians or join the Israeli military. Their proposed responsibilities include monitoring a ceasefire, protecting humanitarian assistance and training Palestinian police. But what peace are they going to keep when the central issues remain unresolved? Hamas has not been fully disarmed. Israel has not completed its withdrawal. If fighting resumes, where will the African soldiers stand? Will they confront Hamas? Will they be caught in Israeli attacks? And if they are killed, who will accept responsibility? Uganda faces threats from the allied democratic forces. Congo is burning. Sudan is bleeding. Somalia remains unstable, and communities across Africa are battling terrorism and organized crime. So why are African soldiers being sent to Gaza when powerful countries behind the arrangement are unwilling to provide enough of their own troops? Palestinian lives matter, and protecting humanitarian assistance is important. But African soldiers must not become cheaper, more expendable manpower for conflicts powerful countries do not want to enter. Before deployment, Uganda must clearly explain the mission, the rules of engagement, the risks and what it expects to receive in return. Africa can contribute to global peace, but not while neglecting the fires consuming its own communities. Congo records over 300 Ebola deaths in 1 week. The Democratic Republic of Congo has recorded more than 300 Ebola deaths in just 1 week. Official figures have reached approximately 5,514 confirmed cases and 2,642 deaths, but experts fear the real numbers may be higher. The outbreak involves the rare Bundibugyo strain. In some areas, the fatality rate is approaching 69%. Congo has received more than 16,000 doses of the Avibo vaccine, with approximately 70,000 doses promised. But the vaccine was developed for a different Ebola strain. Scientists are still studying how much protection it can provide against Bundibugyo. The response is also being weakened by misinformation, insecurity, poor infrastructure, and difficulties tracing infected people. Congo borders 9 countries. This is no longer an isolated Congolese problem, it is a continental threat. And now in South Africa, for arrested, over Zolani Tete's killing. South African police have arrested 4 suspects over the assassination of former world boxing champion Zolani, a last-born Tete. Tete was returning from the gym and waiting for the gate of his home to open when 2 masked gunmen attacked his vehicle. The 38-year-old former champion died at the scene. A woman traveling with him was seriously wounded. Police first arrested 1 suspect, followed by 3 others. But the arrests have not answered the biggest question: who wanted Zolani Tete dead, and why? The masks, the apparent ambush and the number of bullets suggest this was not an ordinary confrontation. Was it robbery, a personal dispute, or a professionally organized assassination? The police must uncover the motive, identify who supplied the weapons and determine whether someone ordered the killing. And lastly, good news. An American report confirms Dangote's impact. The United States Energy Information Administration says Nigeria's seaborne petroleum product exports have increased 7-fold since 2023, principally because of the Dangote Refinery. Petroleum product shipments averaged approximately 561,000 barrels per day in the second quarter of 2026, compared with about 79,000 barrels per day in 2023. Nigeria's seaborne fuel imports also fell from nearly 400,000 barrels per day in 2023 to below 130,000. Nigeria is refining more, importing less, and exporting more to Africa and Europe. That is significant. But it also exposes decades of government failure. Nigeria spent billions maintaining public refineries that repeatedly consumed money without supplying the country's full needs. One private refinery has now demonstrated what successive governments failed to accomplish. This does not mean every problem has disappeared. Nigerians still face high fuel prices, while concerns about competition and monopoly remain legitimate. But the claim that large-scale refining cannot succeed in Nigeria has suffered a major defeat. The challenge now is to ensure that Dangote's success leads to wider industrial growth, not dependence on one private company.
This will be loading to mostly African countries, which we are not doing before. And then now is to do with also petroleum products, which are now sending mainly to African countries.
Congratulations to the Dangote Group and to Africa. Those are the major stories trending around Africa. But today's central question is this: which is more dangerous to African democracy, the soldier who announces a coup on television, or the civilian government that captures public institutions and uses the judiciary to legitimize a disputed election? And should Uganda send 1,200 soldiers to Gaza while insecurity and disease continue to overwhelm African communities? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Subscribe to the Critical Lens Africa. Like and share this video. Here, we do not merely repeat headlines. We examine what they mean for Africa,